Okay, so for the final Conundrum vlog, the thing that I wanted to talk about was an issue that I've sort of struggled with throughout the entire book, and especially once I initially finished it. When exactly the character of Jan considers herself to be a woman. And there were a couple of different options that I initially thought might be that turning point for her. And the first one, I think, was after she started her hormones for the second time, and when she really started to be able to pass. And like we said in class, when people perceived her as a woman and recognized her as a woman, that was seen as progress to her. So if it's progress, then it means that it's still working towards something. So eventually I decided that I didn't think that was her transition point, at least to herself. The other obvious option is after Morris's surgery, and it was obvious to me, at least, that the physical transformation part of becoming a woman was something that was very important to Morris. However, it wasn't so important that she was willing to throw every caution to the wind and just do it as soon as physically possible, or else she wouldn't have delayed her hormones the first time, and she wouldn't have been worried about the idea of divorcing from Elizabeth before having surgery. But finally, after all of that, she says, "My time was approaching. My manhood was meaningless. With Elizabeth's loving help, I abandoned the attempt to live on as a man and took the first steps towards a physical change in sex." So that part read to me as one of the barriers that she had to cross in order to become officially a woman. It seems to me also that Morris definitely equates the physical transformation of at least the gender that one is perceived as to be important in the experience of becoming whatever gender or sex that one wants to be. And that is, I don't think, ever outright stated, but you can see it in how she tends to refer to other trans people, especially, as she often use the wrong pronoun or a dead name, and only later on would she use the name that they preferred to go by. Jan Morris doesn't consider gender in the same way that we do now, in that to her, womanhood was something that had to outwardly be achieved. It was a goal, and she had to have hormones and transition and be perceived as a woman by other people in order to have that goal achieved. Nowadays, and this is, I think, part of the reason that I struggled with this question the entire book, is that when somebody comes out as trans and a different gender, from that point on, they're immediately considered to already be that other gender. There's no sort of transition, operation, hormone therapy, none of that is necessary nowadays in order for someone to be considered the other gender or sex, at least socially. Legally is a different matter, of course. I think that if Morris had lived today, she almost would have approached her own womanhood in a different way. And I think this mostly because of the quote, "If society had allowed me to live in the gender I preferred, would I have bothered to change sex?" So if society, like it does now, would have accepted her at the age of 3 or 4, would she have lived all of those years in her ambiguity and misery and as a man? I don't know, but I'm not sure if Morris would either. So, those are my thoughts.